기조연설은 캔바 산하 레오나르도 비즈니스 총괄이신 티모티 슈님께서 프롬프트를 넘어 사람의 마음을 움직이는 AI 스토리텔링의 예술이라는 주제로 강연을 해주시겠습니다. 티모티 슈님은 10년 이상 게임 산업에 몸담고 계신데요. 현재 게임 개발자를 위한 혁신적인 생성형 AI 아트 플랫폼 레오나르도 AI의 사업 개발 총괄로 창의 산업의 패러다임을 바꾸는데 앞장서고 계십니다. 특히 티모티 슈님은 AI가 콘텐츠 창작자들의 새로운 창의성을, 가능성을 열어주는 혁신적인 힘을 믿고 있다고 하는데요. 예술과 기계의 경계를 확장해 새로운 형태의 창작을 실현하는 데 열정을 임하고 계시다고 합니다. 오늘은 생성형 AI를 활용해 기존의 한계를 극복하는 새로운 콘텐츠 제작 방안에 대한 인사이트를 들려주신다고 하는데요. 참 기대가 되는 것 같습니다. 그럼 큰 박수와 함께 무대로 모시겠습니다.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming to this talk, and thank you so much for Kocca and Be Success for inviting me to Korea. I'm so excited to be here. Today I'm going to be talking about innovation and storytelling with Leonardo AI, and just to kick us off, we will watch a very quick video that we play at some conferences I go to. So a really quick background to myself. My name is Tim Shu. Shu pronounced like I have a foot in my shoe, I have a sneaky shoe. I'm currently the head of biz dev at Leonardo, and I've always really enjoyed working in spaces that are on the cutting edge of technology. So previously I was at Epic Games, I've been at MasterCard, and I feel like AI has been the latest revolution of what everyone's talking about. So I'm really honored that I get to have a chance to come speak to you about the creative world of AI. And since we're at a conference talking about AI and creativity, rather than just telling you who I am, I want to show you, with the help of AI, a more holistic view of my identity and who I am beyond words. So I am from San Francisco. I've lived there for the last 15 years. I think it's a wonderful place. It has so much tech and energy going on. AI is obviously being built there. There's no robots there just yet, but it feels like we're heading in that direction. So come check out San Francisco if you haven't been. I'm also a really big basketball fan, so I grew up playing basketball. I'm no longer very fast, I'm still very short, but I love basketball. I went to Duke University also in college, and they have an amazing basketball program, and that's a big part of my identity. I'm also an aspiring K-pop artist, so I would like to think. I think this is a really cool photo that I just generated with the help of AI. And these days, it's the only way that I can be cool. It's with the help of AI. Okay, so a really quick background on Leonardo. So Leonardo is a creative suite of tools that does images, that does videos, and we do upscaling tools and a lot more. So our whole mission is to make AI more accessible and easy to use for creatives and your everyday person. We work with some of the biggest brands out there, brands like Coca-Cola. We work with large agencies, video game companies, fashion brands. We also work with your everyday plumber who wants to create an ad for their company, and you can use AI to help market your business a bit better. And so our company is headquartered in Sydney, Australia. And last year, we joined the Canva family when we were acquired in 2024 of August. And so it's been a really fun ride. Who here loves Canva? Anyone? Anyone use Canva? Great. Yeah, Canva is amazing. So some of our technology powers their AI technology. So for example, Dreamlab, if that's a feature you've used before, that's powered by Leonardo. So we still have our own separate platform because the use case is really different. Canva's whole mission is to empower everyone to design. AI sometimes is very complex, and so that's why we have a separate platform. If you want to do more within the creative world, we have an enterprise platform as well as a B2C platform. So today I'm going to be talking about storytelling and creativity in the age of AI, and how AI is a tool to help artists tell a better story. So first, it has fundamentally changed and unblocked some critical problems we've had in the process of creating art and ideas. So there are three main factors when it comes to creating at scale. So that is cost, quality, and speed. And oftentimes we find that you can only have two out of these three things. If not, sometimes you can only have one. So for example, if you wanted something very high quality at a low cost, well, it was going to be very slow to turn that around for you. If you wanted low cost and you wanted to get it really fast back, well, it was probably going to be very, very cheaply done or very low quality. And then finally, if you wanted a high quality piece of art, but you wanted to have it right away, typically you would need to hire a big team or have people work around the clock, and that could be really, really expensive. And so this was a really big problem. And maintaining, I mean, if you think about maintaining quality across a large volume of content, it is very difficult. It requires multiple iteration, a big team to make sure you get to a very, very quality outcome. So sometimes it means sacrificing either cost or speed. With AI, it's really possible now to have all three factors. AI doesn't do everything, but it certainly bridges a huge gap. So for one, it's dramatically lowered the cost of creating in a number of ways. For one, very small teams, individuals can now create movies, can create commercials, can create social media posts without hiring an expensive team to do that whole project. Additionally, you can do multiple tests of ideas really quickly and very cheaply with the help of AI. For example, you can test out a movie scene of the same character in a space or in a mountain or in a volcano. All these things can be done with the help of AI. And the speed at which iteration times happen now is much, much shorter. And I have a live demo later to show you what that looks like. So now creative directors can really focus on the artistic vision and aspects of their job to get the output that they need. So now that artists can use AI to speed up and create high quality art, some people have asked, well, does this eliminate the need for artists? And can I expect AI just to do everything for me? The answer is no. So at Leonardo, we believe that creativity is at the heart of great storytelling. AI can create amazing visuals, just like this intricately cute dragon that you see on this left, but it cannot tell you the full story. So AI can come up with a final output, but it's up to artists to craft the story to get there. For example, this half cloud, half dragon, somebody still had to imagine that, be creative to come up with the concept. So when leveraged effectively, humans can utilize AI to create and imagine new ways to tell stories, to help brands make people laugh, make people cry, to surprise people and make them wonder, and even create new ideas that weren't thought of before. If you haven't noticed, there's a snake that's swimming with this animal. It's very, very odd, but with AI you can do it. You probably couldn't do it in real life. It would probably be a PETA violation. But in talking to so many customers and creative directors, I've heard a lot of questions and hesitations about AI. So as I mentioned, we work with a lot of brands, fashion companies, and I get a number of the same questions consistently over and over again. And here are some of the top questions I get. So one of them, the most I hear is like, there's not enough creative control in AI. And that's a very fair statement. AI is still in its early infancy. It's come a long way since 3-4 years ago, But creative directors often do need more precision over AI because when it's random, AI by definition, it's a model, it's pulling from random sources and then it generates an image. So if you can't have control over it, it's not very helpful to the creation process. So that's a common complaint. The second common challenge is that it's also very daunting to learn AI. It's very difficult. For one, there's so many tools. I don't know if you've ever Googled AI tools online. There's a million of them right now. There's so many different models. Every model works slightly different. So if you learn one model, it's hard to translate that and how that works into a different model. So a lot of the teams that we work with at these large brands, they have very tight deadlines. These creative teams are being asked to do a lot, and now they're being told, hey, go learn another new tool. That's very, very difficult, and sometimes they don't want to learn that. And so I want to share how companies have been able to embrace AI and adopt it a little bit faster, whether it's at the storyboard phase or the ideation phase or even the full production phase. So I'm going to show you a few simple ways that our clients use AI to ideate. And it's actually much simpler than you think. Even children can bring stories to life. And this is an example of one of our internal employees, their daughter drew a really cute koala bear. And then we just uploaded it to Leonardo and then generated an amazing video.
Magic is everywhere. Just believe.
So very cute. Okay. So I'm going to be talking, going into a demo. I was supposed to do this live, but I can't operate a computer from up here. So I recorded this last night, and I'm going to speak over it. So hopefully it goes well. So this is our platform, Leonardo. I'm going to talk about how it can be easily used for your everyday and how it's similar to many other tools out there. So one of the things that people love the most about Leonardo is how you don't have to be a prompt engineer to use this tool well. Prompt engineering is a whole skill set. It can be very hard to learn, remembering all these keywords, these numbers. With Leonardo, you can use basic things like uploading a video, uploading an image to kind of guide your output. You can use drawings to guide your artistic vision. So if you have a skill set in drawing, you can still use that in AI. And one of the things that you'll see on our platform is there's a bunch of features and tools on the left-hand side. So there's everything from images to videos to other tools. But I want to start today using this tool called Real-Time Canvas. It's a really good tool for ideating amongst creative teams. And what I'm going to type here is, let's say I'm a creative director. I have this idea to shoot a commercial, and it's going to be called Apple and Water. So I'm going to type this prompt below into the prompt bar, Apple and Water. And so because it's a blank slate, it'll just generate an apple. But what AI is then able to do is I can use my drawing skills. I'm very good at drawing, as you'll see in a second. Here's an apple. And then here is some water. And so you see it renders real time. And this is a really good tool. It's obviously not a finished product, but you see this creativity strength bar. You can slide it up and down, and what it does is the more you go to the right, it gives it more creative freedom to interpret what you're drawing. If you move it all the way to the left, it will just be a blob. So one of the cool things is as you ideate, you can move it up and down depending on what you're trying to do. So let's say that you go to your team, you're like, hey, I like this idea you're doing, but I think it needs to be on the right-hand side. So you can move that over, and instead of telling your team to go away and work on it for a couple days, you can do this in real time to get closer to what your vision is. So it really cuts down the time in which you are brainstorming. You can also change the look of this. You can make it bigger. And let's say like that works for you. And you're like, okay, I can do the next step of ideation. Let's say I'm good with this. I'm going to go and press output to input. And that swaps that image over to the other side. Now you have a more polished version that you can continue brainstorming off of. And so for this next task, I'm going to say, I want this leaf to be really big because I'm going to put a bug on it and tell a story of Bug's life or something, right? And so this is just another tool that helps you cut down a lot of time and also be precise, because if you type into like ChatGPT or some image model, apple and water, you might not get this exact size of the leaf, but by drawing it, you can influence that a lot better if you're very particular about the output you want. The next thing I want to talk about is flow state. It's a really good tool for brainstorming. Also, like if you don't have an idea of what you're looking for, it can help you inspire. So we see it for mood boarding, we see it for tissue sessions. And so one way that we're going to use this is, I'll show you this concept. So I'm going to type in rubber ducky in a stormy ocean. So I have no idea what it's going to spit out, but it's going to basically give me some ideas of where to start. And so as it loads, you'll see that there's a ton of different rubber duckies, right? There's different art styles, there's different camera angles, there's different color palettes. It's just giving me an endless scroll of different options. And I basically can go through and see, like, what should I use for my project that I'm inspired to create? And eventually, I'll find something that I like. So let's see, I think I like, not that one, this one looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna click more like this. So now we have the second of iteration. It basically narrows it down. It gets a little bit more feedback. And now you can see the color palettes are getting more similar. The duck is looking more similar. But I can still narrow my art direction. So I'm gonna click more like that. And eventually what it does is it pinpoints the art direction I want to go in. So you can see it's very like oil paint style. It's very dark and moody. And eventually it's going to look very, very similar. So I started from a lot of different options to a more narrow option. And this is really great for just like, we know a lot of creative teams just go on the internet to grab random images and save them on a file. You can now do this very easily in AI. And this is just upscaling it so that you increase the resolution of it. So that's a super easy tool that almost everyone can use. I'm gonna talk about image creation because that's our bread and butter. That's how Leonardo got really popular. Some of these tools are, you'll see that we have a lot of different models, and that's what people like. So we have our own in-house models, Lucid and Phoenix, but we also support a lot of the best models on the market. So Nano Banana, ChatGPT's, Image One, Ideogram. We don't really care which model you use to get to your results, as long as it produces what you're looking for. So that's our goal at Leonardo, is to empower you to choose what you want. And in this demo, I'm going to show you how you can use images to kind of guide your output if you don't want to be a prompt engineer. And you can still get very good quality outputs. I think here I was just showing we also have a lot of video models that have come out on the market. So like Sora 2, Google's VO3, which is one of the most popular ones on the market, as well as Kling, and Motion 2 is our own in-house one as well. Everything does everything slightly different and has its strengths and weaknesses, but that's what's the great thing about having it all in one place. You can kind of see it all happen. So I'm going to go use this feature called content reference. So what content reference does is it looks at an image and basically pulls from the shape and structure and holds a lot of the composition in place. So if you see that sofa, if you upload a sofa, it's going to hold that sofa in place. So right there, I uploaded a picture of, it's a sketch, a drawing of a living room. And so you can see, I can say, stick to it very closely, low, medium, high, or yeah, so I clicked mid. So what I then prompted is a fancy house. So then I'll generate a fancy house, and it's gonna fill in the details for me so I can get some inspiration for what a fancy house looks like. Because I know everyone has a different definition of fancy house. I can also come up with some new ideas, like a fancy house with a beach-like feel. I can do a fancy house with a jungle theme. And so this takes literally 10 seconds to generate, as you see. This is all was done live yesterday on my computer. So you can see this is a more modern take on what a fancy house looks like. I might like it, I might not. I might like this ocean one a bit better. I might like this jungle themed one better. But even then, it's not a finished product, right? It's still, we have to be able to control it and to add things to it. And so one of the ways that we get to influence the output is a thing called style reference. We can pick a random picture. It could be literally anything. It could be the rubber ducky that we just generated. And what it's going to do is pull from the color and the kind of the style aesthetic of that image onto the existing image we had. So I think I made a few mistakes here when I was clicking around, but I have the style there. And then I think I go into content reference, and then I made a mistake here, so I had to delete it. So there's oftentimes mistakes when you're generating live, but that's okay. Content reference, I'm gonna pick the image that I was using, and then I'm gonna give it the same exact prompt. And then I'm gonna generate. So as you see, please generate. Okay, there we go. So as it's generating, you'll see that what it does, it's just layering things on top of each other. And what's really powerful is AI has evolved so much that you don't necessarily need to like upload these videos. You can or these images. You can do one-shot images like Google's Nano Banana does really well. But this gives you a level of control that some artists really care about. And so you can see that this is the one influenced by the yellow rubber ducky, right? It's like really dark and stormy and moody. Now I can use an editor and just say, put a chandelier in the middle of the living room, as well as some big plants, just to make the room feel a little bit better. And so Google's Nano Banana model is really good at recognizing where things should belong, and it will put things in the right place. So that's something that's really evolved this year, that this editing process, and you see how fast that was, right? It's pretty good if you open it up. There's a chandelier in the middle, there's plants on the side, and I can go work off of something that can be my base starting point. So that is the demo for now. So as we move forward, I think I wanted to talk about what AI has unlocked this year. So as I talked about, the pace at which AI is moving is incredibly fast. Being in the AI space myself, it's hard for me to keep track of all the things going on. So I can certainly imagine what it's like for people whose not full-time job is to keep up with this. And so I want to talk about the biggest unlocks that we've seen in this technology this year that has impacted storytelling. So one is just this combining different images into one image. Combining different items into one image. So here we have a model, we have a background, and we have a product. So last year we could not do this, but now you can ask AI to put all three together, and it gets pretty good results. It's not exactly perfect, but it's way, way better than it was a year ago. So you can imagine that in a year's time, if you were to do this again, it'd probably be even better. Secondly, just bring pitches to life. So we've heard oftentimes from film producers that they have existing assets that they need to reshoot certain angles or camera shots. It's very expensive to do that. If you have something existing, you can upload that into AI and have the camera fly in, fly out from different directions just to get a different feel of the story. And that's something that's really, really powerful. Derivative assets, we call it. Okay, so not only has video gone better, but the physics behind video has gone a lot more consistent. So there are many video models to choose from, like I mentioned earlier. There's VO3, Sora, Kling, and certain things are really good at like the physics of this guy's rolling through the city. Last year, this was not possible. If you guys remember the Will Smith eating spaghetti video that's been very popular, he was eating spaghetti all over his face and it was not very consistent. This year, like the physics has gone way, way better. And even things like a random weird creature, this jumping around, making some kind of sense was not possible until pretty recently, until like 6 months ago. So it's evolved so fast. And I think the biggest unlock that we've seen was in video models specifically was start frames and end frames. So with the help of start frames and end frames, you can really guide the direction of the video output. So here's a quick overview of that. So as you can see from that video, we were just stitching different start frames and end frames back to back to back, so it transitions very smoothly. So during this part, I'm going to talk about 3 key takeaways. So the first is AI allows for testing of new ideas in storytelling. So this is the next level of where storytelling and using AI can be even more advanced. So this is something called a LoRa training. So what it stands for is low ranking adoption, but it's basically building a mini model within an AI model to train it to recognize a person's face more consistently. So this example right here is Jess, my colleague in Sydney. We had her upload 15 images of herself, and it trained the AI to recognize Jessica, so that when we say woman wearing a cool shirt, it knows that it's Jessica's face. And so this has been really helpful because a lot of people want to imagine what does my profile look like wearing this type of clothing or in that kind of setting. And so that's the next level of fine-tuned control that has really evolved this past year. Additionally, ideating with LoRa's on clothing, that's a really popular thing that we've seen with our fashion clients. So oftentimes clients want to see, what does my clothing look like on a single person? Well, now with LoRa's, you can do that much, much easier. And here's also an example of the mock-ups of what it looks like back to front with Jess's LoRa overlaid on top of it. And this client specifically also wanted to know, if we were to do a commercial off of this asset, what would that look like? We can really easily generate some ideas off of this cyberpunk kind of LoRa feel. Additionally, for LoRa's, you can also train not just characters, like so people's faces, you can train styles too. So earlier this week, we also heard some talks about world building, how to build out worlds. Like you can now build out a fluffy world, right? So imagine if you uploaded like this fluffy style, you can have a house, you can have a bed, you can have more houses being this fluffy style. It's a lot easier to build out this world using this technology. Additionally, you can also train logos. So this is our Leonardo logo, and we are able to superimpose it in different places. So that's on a statue in Cannes on the beach. This is in New York City, on the cabs, on the buses, and sometimes brand designers want to see, what does it look like before I invest dollars or marketing dollars into like a big billboard in a city. So this is very good for helping people visualize that outcome. The second thing is that AI really stretches your imagination. So I found this to be one of the funnest things in AI, and it's really wacky, but it leads to some potentially fun and exciting outcomes. So this is just a regular owl that we generated. But what if we were to use AI to tell a different story? So let's say I wanted to make it a rainbow-colored owl. What would that look like? Well, it looks something like this. Pretty cool, but you know, that's nothing special. We can continue making it weirder. So let's say we wanted to make a tie-dye rainbow. That's really strange, right? So I think a lot of people would say, oh, that's enough, but we can keep pushing it with AI. We can say, I want maybe to create a main character, but not this owl, but in the style of this. What if we had a praying mantis in that style? Or we have a koala bear in that style, a cat, or a squirrel, right? So these were all done super, super quickly by just making really quick edits off of AI. What's more funny is you can then say, what if I had an idea of mashing together a praying mantis and a cat? What would that look like? So it's able to put that together creatively for you if you couldn't imagine that, right? And so with AI, you can just imagine the transformation, having that owl transform into a praying mantis, right? So it's just really wacky, fun ideas that you probably wouldn't have wasted your money telling a animation studio to do for you, but now you can do it on your own. So it's really cool to see. So creative directors have often asked, how can I push the bounds of what's normal? And how can I be super weird and creative in this process? AI is the perfect partner for you to do that. And I uploaded this picture of this this woman wearing bananas because I feel like there's a really relevant question is like, how do I even begin to come up with that prompt or that style? Is it just typing a woman and a banana, but I have no idea how to describe her clothing and her posing. So I have a really quick demo here. Oh, go back. That talks about how we do that. So there's this feature within Leonardo called Describe with AI, and what it does is it asks AI, what do you see when I upload an image? So you have a base starting point. And so I can take any of my previous images, and I'm gonna pick that specific image. I believe it was used for a toothpaste commercial back in the time. It's a sugar cube and a tooth. Yeah, it's a tooth. And so I'm gonna ask the AI to give me a starting point. And what I'm gonna do is click yes, and then it's gonna think, and it's gonna spit out this long thing. It's gonna say, image is a digital illustration featuring two characters. One is a pink cube, one is a tooth character. They're cute, they're smiley, whatever. And I can accept this whole prompt as a base, or I can delete anything that I wanna change. So let's say I wanna add, was wearing flowers, or I want to delete the last line. I can delete whatever, right? So in this example, I'm going to delete the last line because I just don't want that. And I'm going to click generate. And what I love about this tool is that anyone can then grab a photo on the internet or in your existing drive and just ask AI, like, give me a slightly different version of what you see, and let's start experimenting off of that. So with this tool, it's going to spit out a similar looking style of like an animation. So you can see this is like a pink sugar cube with a tooth. And what I love about this is it's similar to that concept with the owl earlier. I can create alternations very, very quick. So make this Halloween themed, make this Christmas themed, and make this Chinese New Year themed. And what we've seen with a number of our creators is that they will test this on social media first before they even produce like a full film or like a short film. They'll see which one gets the most views or the most likes, so you don't have to build a whole thing and realize nobody wants to watch it. You can see what idea actually gets people excited and engaged. So that is a pretty neat tool. Okay, I'm gonna jump forward a bit. And this is what animating that looks like, that transformation. So I thought it was pretty cute, so I would just put it here. Okay, the last bit is creativity is the key in AI storytelling. So I wanna show you that just because AI can create some really amazing images and videos, you can't take away the creativity and the artistic eye to tell a good story. So this is an example of what I think is a really bad AI video. It's trying to mirror Avengers, Marvel, where like a lot of cool people are in the scene, but it makes no sense. They're just standing there. So I would say that this was probably produced by someone with a random idea and say, hey, wouldn't this be cool? But it really doesn't make sense. So really the first thing in telling a good story is it has to be cohesive. And so I would suggest using AI to create new interesting concepts and things that make people go, aha, like things that are like the sushi factory, like thinking about things like this. This is a really good example of using AI, like blowing things up, making them bigger, and making it more creative, since we haven't seen this before. One other way that we also work with creative teams, so we work with a lot of enterprise customers, and we do workshops for them to how to use and upskill in AI. And sometimes people have a little bit trouble understanding how to be creative with AI tools. So the start frame and end frame thing that I just mentioned first, we will oftentimes give people 2 distinct frames and ask a room of 10 people, come up with your most creative idea. And then you tell the story in between what happens, right? There's a million ways that you can go from here to here, and it's really up to each individual what they have. So this is Laura, obviously trained off of my face in a cartoon version. And my team created this for me, so I actually didn't see this this before. And when I first got it, my immediate plot and story was so I grew up in Taiwan, and I moved to Canada for 1 year in my 9th grade year. So you can imagine what a big culture shock and how scary it can be. So I remember as I was walking to school one day, I was trying to give myself more confidence and pump myself up. So the story that I was telling is like, how do I, do some power poses, make myself feel bigger and more confident, and then I end with that, right? So you'll see that as this story progresses, he's like kind of nervous, kind of shy, but he's like talking to himself, and then he's like posing, and then he gets happy. And so that's like a story that flows a bit better. It's not a perfect story, but you can see that like that spoke to me because that was my personal experience. This is an example of like what does not work well. It's like a soccer hits me in the face and I'm like, hey, nothing happened, right? So you still have to be very smart about how you use these tools. When stories are stitched together and they make a lot of sense, it's really good. So I would say good stories are often disguised in the everyday usual scene of life. Good stories just need to have an element of surprise, the unexpected, and the unknown of what could happen. And this is where creativity comes in. How can you tell a story that keeps people engaged? And so I want to show you an example of a video our team made using VO3 and the concepts I mentioned. So using start frame, end frames, using elements of surprise and suspense in your everyday New York subway scene. So let's see if you can spot where you chuckled, what you found surprising, and whether it makes you interested in continuing to see more of this story.
It's flooding. Climb up. Get onto the seats.
So that was actually produced in-house by our creative director. So there's obviously more of a storyline through that video than you saw in some of the other videos. And I would say that in all AI films that you see online, the ones that people really pay attention are generally still produced by people with a creative background. Like I could go into this and produce something that is mildly interesting, but people with a great eye for art will be able to produce something that makes people laugh, make people cry. And so I would say that creatives have a really big opportunity to get headfirst into this technology and create something that most people still want to watch. Okay, and so I would say, as heading toward my conclusion, AI is just a tool in crafting a good story. And what AI does is allows us to scale faster, produce higher quality assets, and also helps us expand our imagination. But it cannot replace creativity and storytelling. The next generation of storytellers will belong to those who know how to master the craft of storytelling and can use AI to tell their stories better. So with that, the possibilities are endless, and I hope you enjoyed this talk. We have a QR code here that if you just scan it, it gets you a link to our website, and you can create a free Leonardo account, and I've asked our team to give you more tokens than any other free signups have. So please use this. You'll be able to create some videos right after this. We'll try to get you the tokens by Monday, since our team in Australia that handles this it's already the weekend for them. But my name is Tim. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn or email if you have any questions. It's very simple. It's tim@leonardo.ai. And yes, that's my presentation. Thank you so much.